Yo, 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 what's up?
Hey, good morning. Morning, CJ. Nice to see hear ya.
How you been, Mr. Donald?
Been okay. It's been like a weird three going so fast, all of this Zoom.
Yeah,
Doing good.
that's what's up.
Yep, awesome. Let me just be back, grab some more coffee.
Morning.
Morning, good morning. Welcome, everyone. Sorry, I was just getting some coffee. Gotta wake up this morning. Good morning, y'all. Let me just make sure I'm opening up our attendance. Welcome, welcome back to pre-calc. Back to some math for the next, I don't know, for the most of this month of February.
Wait, do we still have President's Week?
Yeah, we do. We still do have that week off, which will be great. Well, great for all of us. That's in about 2 weeks though, but great to have those little breaks in there, so we could take a break from being always online. That can itself just be exhausting. Even though I know we just had a break, but we need more. Welcome, everyone. Just making sure I'm letting everyone in. It's been a while. Feels like a long, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's been like since last year. I seen y'all last year. It's crazy. All right, let me go ahead and jump us into our check-in question. First off, welcome back. Welcome back into pre-calculus, doing some juicy math together, all of that. All right. I hope it's juicy. So this is the first time together in this new year. So 20 class of 20. Oh, well, I know we're not all class of 2021, sorry. But year 2021, welcome back, y'all. And welcome back, seniors who are indeed class of 2021. I'll explain how notes will go today. We do have some learning today, but we'll get to that. Let's just right now check in on how we're doing. So, our check-in question today for the attendance, just so I can double check. And again, sometimes I need to be corrected because I'm skimming it quickly. So please let me know if I accidentally mark someone absent. Um, I still just in general, like even when we're in class, I still needed to like pause and make sure the attendance was correct. But our check-in question is, how are you feeling right now? Just in general. Are we tired? Are we motivated? Are we productive? How are we just feeling right now? Or it could be I'm cold or it's hot in here. I don't know. It's a little bit chilly in my spot. So let's go ahead and answer that check-in question as I double check who we have here. Um, Make sure I don't mark anyone absent if we're here. And if we're missing any friends, we want to make sure they're here for this first day back. I know I see the chat there is getting filled up. Give me a second for me to get on that. All right, let's take a look. How are you all doing? It's okay if you send it to me privately or publicly. No problem. So what we got? We have some of us are good. Some of us are tired. Some of us are feeling okay, tired, decent, productive, and cold. I feel like that's me right now. Even though later I am going to be tired. My Tuesdays usually now, because you know how we had the little bit of a schedule switch this new year, is now been like Tuesdays are my busy days. Like I don't get a break until lunch, and then the next break after that is going to be at 5 because I got meetings after. We're sleepy. Ooh, we're feeling active. We're feeling okay. Still waking up. That's all right. Feeling good, tired, cold, and tired. Productively tired. That's a new one. Productively tired, but it's something that I think I sometimes get to. Good, extremely tired, and feeling okay. I don't know if that's okay or okay, even though I use that all the time. All right, awesome. So let's see. Again, please let me know if I'm accidentally marking you absent, but I gotta double check, and it's been a while. Uh, we have Sam, right? Do we have Sam? I feel like I'm missing Sam. So Sam Lambert. Let me know if you're here, Sam. Carlos, Jasmine. Uh,
I'm here.
so we're here. Who's this? I'm sorry, Sam.
I'm here.
Awesome, thank you. So we're missing Carlos. We're missing Yaisa. Let me know if that's correct or not. Because I'm basing this off this check-in. Oh no, we got Yaisa. I'm sorry, we got you. All right. So who I'm missing is Carlos, and Jasmine. That's who I'm missing. All right. So let me just go ahead and enter this. I want to make sure it's all correct. So again, Carlos, Jasmine. All right. Yay. Now that's taken care of. Let's jump into today's agenda, everyone. Okay, actually, I'm going to be starting off today going a little bit over my math story experience. So I kind of realized, like, oops, I should have actually talked about this like semester one, like the first thing, a little bit of knowledge about myself, where I come from, things like that. I did introduce a little bit, but not as deeply about my math experience. So I'm going to talk about that to kind of set us up for our goals for this module and this last semester that we have together here on Zoom. After I go ahead and talk about my math story experience, we're going to be jotting down our goals for this module, and it's going to be on a Padlet, and it will be for today's, participation. So today's participation grade is a Padlet. So there's going to be like 3 check-in questions on a Padlet. So notes, yes, but there is a different way we're going to be doing and following notes. So hold up until we get to this part. So let's just first set our goals, and then we'll jump into what the notes are. And then, of course, as usual, we have an exit question. And then our first asynchronous is due Thursday. So it's Tuesday today. The first one is just due on Thursday, and it's going to be based on like an introduction. Let me check the chat. Sorry, I'm late. I'm tired. That's okay. Internet problems, Wi-Fi. Yes, she let me know. Just making sure I verified that we had the abscesses. So don't worry. For anyone who had those issues, there's a different kind of
Hello?
Hello. There's a different kind of marking for that. So don't worry. Thank you so much though for double checking on your friend. And Carlos, we have Carlos here, right? Just saw you come in. Welcome, welcome. Happy you're here.
Amazing.
There we go.
Hola.
Hello. Practicing our Spanish. All right. Thank you so much, y'all. All right. So just double checking on that attendance, and we're going to go ahead and jump into my math story experience. Okay. So here we go. So first things first, just want to talk about like as a teen.
First thing first, show them titties.
Carlos, that is so inappropriate. You can't be saying those things like that. Like otherwise I gotta,
Wait, what?
Yeah, because I'm seeing the unmute
That's
here.
not me.
I'm sorry. So I'm seeing the unmute here, and
That's
that's
not
not
me.
okay. Okay. So whoever is doing that is not okay. And if I see that you're getting unmuted and saying these things, I gotta have to follow up, and it's inappropriate.
That was another person. They just left.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry,
They're
Carlos.
trying to frame me, bro.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's because I saw the little mic. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much. We got each other here. I appreciate it. I thought some of you were just like playing around, but I guess it was a little bit of a bomb that we got. That's okay. We got you. We got it. No problem. It's because Carlos came in and it looked like he was unmuted right when that was happening, and I'm sorry. Oh gosh, what a day, y'all. Okay, let me get myself situated. All right, so let me get started. So I gotta get myself situated because it's my math story. Okay, so as a teen, as most teens, kind of like at that time, a lot of the stuff in the world didn't make sense. And I struggled a lot with like the world, my identity, finding my place in society, things like that. So that was me as a teen. That's why it looks like I am suffering a bit. And again, I know that happens in our teen years. And when I had math class in ninth grade, I had like a teacher who would do her steps like step by step showing math, kind of like when you do PEMDAS, things like that. And it was like so nice and organized, and it always led to an answer, and it made sense that that it kind of like made sense where my life didn't at the time. And so that's why I kind of really ended up liking math, like, oh, step by step, this is the answer, da da da. And I came in with that same attitude when I went into college, but then I kind of had a little bit of an identity crisis, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. But basically what had happened is I realized I wasn't what, like quotations, what you call good in math. When I went into college, I had like a new realization. And at the end of that, it went back to me kind of teaching myself and learning actually what is math and how do we learn from it. So that's the general math story experience that I have. And let me get into the details though, right? So there's that. But why did I have that kind of identity crisis when I hit college? So once I hit college mathematics, I went in with that same attitude. Like, if I follow the steps, I'll get the answer right and it's going to make sense. But then I learned that I actually wasn't, like, again, what you say, good in math. I actually just had a good memory. So maybe some of you can relate or not, but for example, you know how you have to do that driving test and you have to take the permit first. I aced the permit test all the time because I had a good memory and I'd be able to memorize the questions. But did I truly understand how to drive? No, I actually struggled to actually get the license because I was not that great behind the wheel. And I also didn't understand the reasoning behind certain rules when it came to driving. So just because I'm good at memorizing something does not mean I'm actually good at the thing. Was something I had to learn in college. So at UC Berkeley, my first math test there, I thought I aced it, but I got it back and I actually got a 12 out of 50. The average score during that time was 24 out of 50. So I was like below average. So that threw me into like a first kind of identity crisis. And I had to like pull myself out of that, kind of reteach myself. And I realized actually the stuff I learned in high school wasn't math. Like, yes, it made sense to me, but I wasn't actually thinking about my steps or knowing why I'm doing certain things. Okay, so then that leads us into a new semester. Like, well, why am I even mentioning this? So it does have a purpose. So what we're doing here, like you all seniors and in my pre-calculus class, actually justifying your work and defending your thinking in front of your peers is actually where the true understanding happens. And I never actually got a chance to do that in high school, which is why once I hit college, I was completely lost. And then again, doing that, the thinking and defending your thinking, that's actually super hard, right? So it could be super hard to do that. And and it was way easier for me as a kid, to just memorize steps and made sense with it. So it did have its purpose and its time. Like, at the time it was great that I had something that had a lot of steps and I got to enjoy, but at the same time it wasn't really the math that I enjoyed. I just think it was the fact that something made sense. It had a process to it. But I believe that when we do the work that we're doing, like actually thinking about why we're doing things, making connections to the big ideas, I believe that you'll be better equipped to handle college level rigor once you do get to it. So this will definitely prepare you, and it's why we do the work we do. Yeah, yay! I'm so happy. I got to do that despite my throwing up. So I mean, sharing about this experience because I was a bit blanking out. Okay. So now that you know a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing in this class, like when it comes to defending our work and a little bit about my math background, let's go ahead and jump into our first participation check. It is on a Padlet. So not in the chat, everyone. It's going to be in a Padlet. So let me go ahead and give you all the link, and it's going to be the same Padlet. So you could keep it open, but I'll make sure I keep, pasting it into the chat. Okay, so if you open up the Padlet with me, it looks something like this. I did not choose the background. I think just sometimes it's a cute peacock, but sometimes they kind of just choose the background. So what you want to do here for your first credit check-in is you're going to add a post, and you do it by putting a little plus. Notice that there's these other check-in questions. For now, you could ignore them until we hit them. We're going to soon hit them, but we're going to all just be in the first column. And in the first column, you're going to add a post, and you're going to put either your name or initial so that I could give you credit. And then you're going to go ahead and try to answer this prompt. And the prompt is up here. If the focus is justification and defending our work, what goals will you try to focus on this semester? And what will be a challenge, and what questions do you have is our prompt. So you could answer some of this, part of it. We'll just have our goals here, at least so that we could take a look at them. So I see that the Padlet's being updated. Yay. We already have our first, yes, second. Great. I'm going to go ahead and give you all a minute or two. Again, we're on the first column of the Padlet answering the prompt. Let me again put the directions in the chat. So let's take the next minute or two. All right, I went ahead and put in the directions, everyone. Give you some time to answer this. And again, name or initial, totally fine. If you don't want, your whole name, great. I see a lot of us still writing. Let me give you all some more time. All right. So some of you can go ahead and finish up writing in your goals, but these goals are looking really, really great. Yeah, I'm seeing like goals of turning in work on time, participating more. That's awesome. Finishing and turning in work. Yay. Communicate consistently with teacher. I look forward to that. Focus on wording sentences. Yeah. Defending my justification. A challenge will be on the confidence and math skills. Yes, that's okay. Like I said, that happened to me in college. So I know exactly like what that whole confusion looks like for sure. Yes, challenging ourselves, assessing reasonableness. That sounds awesome. Full understanding of the work. Yes, being okay that my answers were wrong. I love that one. Paying attention, finishing work. And yeah, those challenges are super real. Participation, we got checking our answers and justifications of my thinking. That's awesome. Being more productive, collaboration. These are awesome goals, y'all. Proving work is correct. Wow. Yes, defending that work. Oops. Oh, we got a goal over here too. So cool, cool. This one right here is actually for a second check-in question. Let's see if I'm able to move some of these. I think I did. So yeah, I moved the, if you accidentally wrote your goals on the second column, don't worry. This right here is a notice or wonder, but you're totally free to do the notice and wonder. So I moved your goals over to back to the first column. First column is where goals are at. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, and then I see a few of you are still writing, so I'll give a little bit more time for that. I'm gonna jump back into my slide and move us into the next thing. I'll give you all a few on that. All right, y'all. So once we move on, do make sure that, for example, if you see that, like if it says anonymous, just make sure you put like initial or something just to let me know so I could give you some credit. I do see some busy bees already getting a jump on that second check-in. We're not there yet, but feel free. Let me go ahead and transition all of us back to the slides. Like y'all are feel free to do that, but right now what I'm going to kind of move forward to is talking about how we're actually going to do notes this time around. So if y'all remember, sometimes I would collect, like y'all would write your notes, and sometimes I'd like pictures of that and I collect it kind of to just make sure that we're all are actually focused, taking notes. But I kind of did some thinking on that and realized that it's probably not as, I don't know, I feel like it won't be effective. And let me give my reasonings. So the reason why we're going to move towards this method is that, and this is the method first. Let me explain the method. So what we're going to instead do, if you go to my Google Classroom, you're going to see that I've linked up the slides already, and I'm going to be linking it up for every day. So we're period 6. And I mean, usually it's going to be way at the top. Let me move this to the top. It's going to be way at the top. And here you see it's Q3 day 1 notes. You'll be able to click it, make your own copy. That's what I'm going to have you do instead. So you're going to make your own copy and you're going to follow along and annotate your slides. And what I mean by annotate is, like, for example, if there's a part that's confusing, you have a question, or you want to put in the answer or clarification, you just highlight the thing on the slide and you could like make a comment. And that's how you will take your so-called notes. And that's going to be the new method. And the reason for that is because why do you have to copy down something that you already have pictures for, notes for. So for example, if I have the title and the learning target, why do you have to write it down if it's right here and you could just go back to the slide and take a look at it? Or if you have like pictures that look something like this, it would take us quite a while to copy this down on paper. I see the use, like if we're in the classroom and I'm lecturing and writing stuff on the board, then yeah, you're gonna have to copy stuff down. But if we have everything on our slides like we do here, then there's no need to like kind of require that extra step where you go on a piece of binder paper and write things down. So that's gonna be our new process. And I see that 3 of us are already jumping there into the slides. Awesome. Once you jump in there, just go ahead and make your own copy of it. And then you can make your little annotations. Because once you hit here, you're only on view mode unless you make a copy. Does anyone have any questions about this new method of doing notes, following along with me? Pros or cons or any questions? I'll pause for that. All right. If no one has any questions about this new method, again, go ahead and hop on there because we're going to begin our, I'm going to just call this annotative notes, just so that you're not confusing it. Oops. So that you're not confusing it as in that you need to copy down and write the stuff down. What you're doing is, yay, I see more of us are on here. Again, what you're doing is you're going on here, make your own copy, and you're going to follow along with me. The only reason you want to make your own copy is that's the only way you can make a comment and annotate the slides to any way you wish. So awesome. Yay, a bunch of us are here. So we're going to be on slide 9. So let's go ahead and transition here. The title of today's lesson is Where Do You Think You're Going? And the learning target is what we're going to be trying to shoot for today is this new concept called the limit. And some of you were already answering that the second column there on the Padlet. Don't worry, we'll all have an opportunity for that. The learning target is I can explain the basic components of limits. So I'll just leave this here so y'all can read it, read the learning target. But again, you're not copying anything down. You have a copy of this. So just go ahead and read this for a moment. All right. So how we're going to actually start this off is with a notice or wonder on limit notation. So some of you already got started. So we're going back to the Padlet now. So before we actually know, sorry guys, before we actually know what a limit is, I'd like you to first do a notice and wonder. Now I'm going to put the Padlet back in the chat just in case if you closed it. But if you have it open, where we're at is in the second column. So right here, second column is where we're at. So what I'd like you to do is click on this image. And when you click on it, it makes it big like this. So what you have here is what we're going to learn how to do and like a little visual example of it. Right now, it's not supposed to make sense. So you should have some noticing and wonderings right now happening for you. So just look at the notation, look at what it looks like graphically, and go ahead and put a notice or wonder in the second column. So great, I see we have four of us on that second column. Let's go ahead and get on there. And I'm pretty sure these were the head starters. Let me put the directions here in the chat and give you a minute or two to do a notice or wonder. Again, we're on the second column on the Padlet. I went ahead and put the directions there in the chat. If you, I always do that. So I say the directions, try to make sure I put it in the chat so that we have, clarity on what's happening. Awesome. We're getting a few more there. I'm going to give you all about a minute and then we'll check out what are some noticings and wonderings that you all have. Second column, everyone. You just click on the little plus sign right here at the bottom to make your new post. And then can you put the picture up for us? Of course. Let me click this open. I'll keep this up for you in this here minute. So again, the question is, what do you notice? What do you wonder about this limit notation or about its graph? It could be about anything. Yeah. All right. Let me just see see if we're still writing here. See if we need to wait for a few more. Okay, a few more. I still need to finish up their thoughts. So let me give a little bit more time, y'all. All right, everyone. Let's go ahead and see what y'all wondered and noticed about this. Sorry for my long pause. I was just checking in on something there. All right, so wondering what's the difference between the left and the right? Yeah. So I like that because if you look in the picture, there's like a right and a left. So like, what's the difference? I noticed how the equation makes a slope. So something about this equation here, I'm assuming is making a slope, or we could be talking about these lines here. So much. Sorry, let me say, okay. I wonder if the equation is the same as a graph, right? Like, is that what we're graphing? If so, why are the letters only in the equation? Yeah, huh? Like, where's the annotation on the graph? I wonder what the limit means and if it'll be similar to what we did last module. I noticed the left hand says along and the x-axis, and the f of x is the y-intercept in the middle. On the right-hand side, it says something about the y-intercept. Wow, that's some deep analysis. Using a limit, wondering like what that is, how we use it. The formula starts with lim, has the same 3 beginning letters as a limit. I notice that there's a right and a left hand. And if I wonder if f of x always represents the y-intercept. So another wondering and noticing about the y-intercept. Yes, I noticed that for left and right sides, the graph have limitations. I wonder why they have those. Yeah, that could be something that we might hit. I wonder what the lim means, and I notice what it has to do with graphs. I wonder when it's appropriate to use. I wonder if the graph is always exponential. That's a good wonder. We could have funky looking graphs. I wonder if the equation is the same as a graph. I wonder how many different variations this equation has. Wow, y'all, look at these delicious and wonderful notices and wonders. Wow. Ooh, is a limit notation similar to what we did last module? Ooh, some of you remember that? That's awesome. I wonder if lim means limit, and is it going to be the same thing as last module? Like, are you guys talking about like the rectangles, like the Riemann sums? Sorry, I have my own wonderings, and it looks like it's increasing. Yeah, I think the graph looks like it is indeed increasing. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for your notice and wonders. We're going to try to explore today what the limit is, what it means. Let's go. Okay, so here is our formal definition. Us following on the slides, we're on slide number 10. So this is the formal definition of a limit, and we're gonna today explore what it means in these slides. So we might get to the formal, like you understanding what a limit is. We might, or we might still have a bunch of questions at the end of today. So a limit. A limit is the value that a function approaches. We see that word again. As the input approaches some value. So I see approaching coming up twice. So it's kind of like a funky sentence. And we use limits to determine function behavior, or we can even use it to even determine the speed of a car at an exact instance. That's actually something we're going to be doing in your next upcoming mini final for this class. And we're going to be doing cars and speeds, but that's later on. Okay, so we already took a look at this. So we have this limit expression. We have its corresponding graph. Yes, there's a left and the right hand limit. And let's go ahead and try to decipher all this. We're going to try to make connections with the verbal stuff to the notation and try to see if we can make some sense of it. So it says the limit is the value that a function approaches. So function is approaching something. Function approaches. So usually a function, that's either your f of x or your y. So I'm just going to put little annotation. For those who are following along, you can highlight this and add little annotations. So this is either f of x or y function when it says so f of x or y is approaching something. That could be a little comment that you can make as you highlight and follow along. Okay, next it says, okay, so we have that the y value is approaching something. So then that looks like that matches up right here. What is the y value getting closer to? So that looks like that's that L. So I'm trying to see how I can make a little connection. Just do that. That's connecting to what's happening there in the notation. Okay. Then it says as the input, so input usually is X. So I'm just gonna add myself a little note. This is X, the input. And as your comment, you can highlight that and put X. So as the input is doing what? The input is also approaching some value. So we have that the y value is approaching something, and now the x value or the input is. And we could see that as you approach A on the x-axis, so this is x approaching some value A. So that's that second part of the definition. That will be connected to this second part right here. The input approaching something. Then we have the y value approaching something. So that's so far what I could see as far as connections. And then you have this here visual. We're going to understand this visual hopefully by the end of class today, or we'll get to start to explore it. Let's see what's in the chat. How do you write on the slide like that? So I'm actually not writing on the slide. I'm actually using Zoom annotation. So what I would do if you were making comments on your slide is I would just like highlight this and just say this is connected to the to X arrow A of the formula. Like I would just highlight and just give yourself a little note like this part, if you were to highlight, be like, this is connected to the L in the notation. Or you could say that the second part, this is connected to what's at the below the limit or below the limb is how I would do it. But yeah, I don't know if anyone knows how to actually draw on your slides. To my knowledge, I don't think that is possible. So right now what I'm doing is Zoom annotations actually. Thanks for asking though. I mean, maybe somebody knows. All right, let me just pause here for any clarifications. Again, we're still going to explore what limits are. So right now we're just trying to look at the definition, make connections with this notation, and perhaps take a look at what's going on the graph, but we're still going to learn what this is. Let me know if anyone has any other questions on this part. All right, if we're okay with questions, let's go on to the how to actually determine what in the world the limit is. So let me clear all my drawings. And let's move on. So how we're going to actually understand what limits are is we're going to be taking a look at the travels of these two bugs called Benny and Bertha. So that's how we're going to explain limits. With their help, we're going to be looking at graphs from a bug's eye view to help convey what the important concept of a limit is in an intuitive way. So intuitive means kind of like not the technical way. It's like just that you yourself understand it, but you don't have the technical explanation for it. So intuitive, it's like, we'll know the basics. Let's just call it like that. So you could highlight this word and say the basics, just knowing the basics of limits. Well, Benny and Bertha, though, they are special bugs because they can't fly or they can't jump. We're going to be using that in order to kind of like imagine function behavior. So these bugs are special. They can't fly, they can't jump. And if you want to think of a physical bug, the only two bugs in my mind that I could think of that can't fly or jump, maybe you could think of others. We could think of them as ladybugs who perhaps lost their wings. Or you could think of them as like roly-polies that are traveling. Because to my knowledge, I don't think roly-polies can jump. They roll about.
Worms.
What was that, CJ?
I said worms.
Or worms. Yeah, that's a good one. You could think of these bugs like Benny and Bertha the worms. That can work too. That's a good one. Maybe I could use that next time. Yeah. I was about to say like a cockroach, but I'm like, nope, I heard those jump. So that wouldn't be a good one. Okay, so this is like a visual of Benny and Bertha, and I'm going to kind of explain their motion. I don't know why they made them look like ladybugs though, but like I said, let's think of them as roly-polies or ladybugs without wings. And now you could also think of them as worms. So keep in mind again though, when we're like working with these bugs, they can't fly, they can't jump. And also another thing is they're too big to fall through any open holes. What do I mean by that is, for example, this here, let's imagine that this is a function and it has like an open hole right here. So open hole in a function. And this is a comment that y'all can write on your slide, as you're following along. Open hole in the function means there's a point that's not defined. That's all it means. But basically these bugs can't fall down through the hole. let me give you an example. So let's say this is Benny, and I'm going to say this is Bertha. And I think they're siblings. And let's say they're trying to meet up. So Bertha is going to try to walk towards the direction of Benny this way. And Bertha's going to keep walking, walking, walking. And according to the directions, again, she can't fly, she can't jump. Neither can she fall through the open hole, because take a look at her. She's bigger than this hole. So she's going to be able to walk right on top and keep going. So this is Bertha trying to walk to meet up her brother. Then Benny's going to also walk, walk, walk. He's kind of like walking up a hill. And he's going to go down the hill. And eventually, Benny and Bertha will meet up, socialize, catch up on life, so forth. So this is kind of how we're going to introduce how to talk a little bit about limits before we actually know precisely how to describe what a limit is. Does anyone have any questions about Benny, Bertha, the fact that they can't fly or jump, or how to deal with any open holes? Let me know. Feel free to unmute or use the chat. Could they run? Yeah, they could run. They could approach quickly. So how we're making connections, by the way, to the limit definition, like these bugs walking, that's like the function approaching. So that's kind of like why we're using these little bugs. That was, now that we got that worm connection, got me thinking about caterpillars now. Okay, let me know if there's any other questions. Let's move on to the next slide here, so we could do the actual investigation, everyone. Here is the exploration, and we're going to actually do this together. I mean, yes, I thought about doing this in a group Desmos or something, but it will take quite some time. Don't worry, we'll have some group stuff, soon. I also have to send out a group preference form as well for preferences. Okay, y'all. So we're on slide number 13. What you have here is this funky looking graph. So I remember somebody asked in the notice or wonder, like, does it always have to be an exponential graph? Well, as you can see right here, so no, we're gonna actually have these funky looking graphs. This graph looks like an upside down parabola and it has a closed dot. That means it's defined there. Then it has like an open circle, and then it's like again another upside down parabola. It's kind of like disjointed kind of graph. So in case you want to know, this specific graph is called a piecewise function. That's if you're interested. I'll type that out in the chat. I don't know if you all did piecewise in Algebra 2. We're not really going to get too much into it. We just have to know that these kinds of functions, they do exist. But I put the word there into the chat. Okay. Here's part 1 of the investigation. So it says Benny starts at the point on the curve corresponding to x equals 6. So Benny's at x equals 6. So I have to first pick which one's Benny. So this bug looks like, if I look here, it's kind of like near x is -2 or -1. And then this bug, I see x equals 6 right here. I mean, this bug looks like it's starting at x equals 7, but this is the only bug that's closest to what the description is saying, first off. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and say, it can't be that other bug. That other bug is in the negative zone. So this must be Benny then. Benny's up here. That means down here is Bertha. Okay, so he starts on x equals 6, and he's going to move along the curve to the left. So he's moving towards his left, and we could label this graph here. This is my left side. And this is my right side of the graph, left and right. And he's going to move toward his left. So he's just walking, walking, walking along this curve. Daniel, you could think of him running. And he's climbing uphill. So he's walking up this hill. How high does Benny think he will get as he gets closer to, and it got cut off, y'all. So as he gets closer to x equals 3, should be the question. So Benny's going to keep walking and he's going to stop once he hits the X value of 3. So he's going to stop once he hits here. How high does he think he'll get? How high means Y value because we're talking about height. Let's see if anyone knows and wants to try this out in the chat. So how high or at what Y value will Benny be at? And again, remember, he can't fly, he can't jump. He's kind of going to end up stuck somewhere. All right, I see 2 things in the chat. So Danny says he's going to end up at 5. Let's see if anyone agrees or disagrees. So 5 with a question mark. Wait, Nev, I did no math. That's just a guess. That's okay. We could do some guesses right now as we're trying to figure this out. Well, let's see, Danny. So let's see where he ends up. Okay, let me just imagine. So Benny's just going to keep walking, right? And he's going to end up stopping once he hits the X value of 3. So I'm Benny here. I'm walking, walking, walking. He can't fly. He can't jump. It looks like Benny's going to get stuck right here, right on top of this open circle. So here's Benny. He's trying to meet his sister, but this is kind of as high as he gets. And we're talking about how high this bug gets. We're talking about the Y value. So do y'all think he does end up at 5 here? Okay, so then, oh, and Brenda, you also said 5. I see your comment there. You also agree. So we have Brenda, Danny thinking 5 is indeed where Benny, how high Benny gets. Yeah, he can't fall is what another person said directly. We have AJ agreeing. Yes. Okay. I agree with y'all. So that's true. Benny's going to end up the highest he could get, and where he's going to stop because he can't fly, can't jump is going to be at Y equals 5. So the answer for this one is how high at Y equals 5. We don't really have any feet or anything. This is just like a generic problem. So for your work, you want to just highlight and comment like he's going to stop at Y equals 5. You could add a little justification to your note like, oh, because he can't fly, can't jump, he's stuck there, he won't fall. There's different ways you can like justify why Benny's going to end up at the Y value of 5. Let's see, does anyone have any questions on why Benny ends up here? Pause and wait for questions. All right, I don't see any questions about like disputing or disagreeing on where Benny ends up. So let me go ahead and clear my side and we're going to transition everyone. We're not done yet with the investigation, of course. We're going to continue this, I believe, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll continue it in our next class. I'm still getting used to the new schedule, y'all, for surely. But we're gonna go back on the Padlet. Now, I want you to take some time and reflect on your goal, and I want you to answer the following. So right now where we're at as far as our investigation about limits, what is a question or understanding you have so far? And it's okay, we didn't get too far, but right now, as you're reflecting on your goal for this module, some of you said you want to ask more questions, things like that. What is a question or understanding you have currently about limits? Let me again put this Padlet into the chat, and we're in the last column as our checkout question. Awesome. I see it's getting populated super quickly. Don't forget to do your checkout. Make sure you put your name or initial for your credit. You could always go back and like edit your comment to add that. I think I'm still missing this one up here. I don't know who this belongs to. So definitely add your name or your initial so that I can give you your credit. Yay, I'm seeing some awesome things. And I think what will be great tomorrow or the next time we meet, we'll continue our investigation on Benny and Bertha, and we could take a look at what are some takeaways or where you all are at as far as understanding about limits. So yeah, we should totally have a bunch of questions because we're still learning this. All right, I'll let you guys write in your checkout question. And then we'll get ready for some lunch. Make sure you all take a break. Take a break or take a nap. And again, yes, it's fine. Like right now, I usually have a bunch of questions because we're still learning about it. We just talked a little bit about where Benny will end up. And all we know so far is that limits, we're going to be using bugs right now to help us understand the behavior and what a limit is. So it's okay to have a lot of questions right now. We're still learning. All right. So my direction is please make sure you finish the checkout. I'll be entering in the first day's credit participation. So don't worry, you'll get that. Y'all have an amazing lunch. Thank you so much for today, your patience, kindness, your interactions. Thank you all so much. Y'all enjoy. Bye, everyone. Yeah, bye. Enjoy your lunch. Y'all take
All right, then.
Bye. Bye, CJ. Appreciate you so much. Bye, Denise. Bye, y'all. Bye. Bye, AJ. Bye. Bye, Carlos. Bye, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and end this meeting. Let me know if y'all have any questions, and I'll try to upload this too for those who need it. Bye. Bye, Miles.